I think that we're changing the packaging game. A lot of companies are trying to maximize their packaging when Robert's goal ultimately is to eliminate packaging completely.
This episode is brought to you by The Bar Book. Discover your perfect pour. Join today for free and take the guesswork out of finding spirits and cocktails you'll love. Drink smarter, explore more, and enjoy with confidence on the Bar Book app on Apple and Android.
Hi, and welcome to the Liquor Connoisseur. I am Crystal. We are here with Heather Fritchie of Spearhead Global. She is the CEO, and we appreciate you being here, taking time out with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
So shout out to Spearhead also for letting us be in their offices today as we are still on location. But Heather, tell us about yourself, how you got into the industry, and why you started Spearhead Global.
I actually lucked into the industry. I took the first job that I was offered after college, making a very, very low salary as an assistant in a company that makes promotional products. So all of your swag and your tote bags and all those things. And I worked there for 20 years and worked my way up to being the innovation director, working a lot of big products and big brands. It wasn't just spirits at the time. It was also like personal care, fragrance, that kind of thing. And over time, my husband and I, we both worked at that company. He was my boss. I'll come back to that in a minute. And we slowly started seeing that the promotional industry is really tough, actually. You know, so much activity happens around, November, December, and so much activity does not happen in the other 10 months that we were really pushing the owners of that company to really focus on packaging, the kinds of things that you need to sell every bottle or item that you sell, because that's more regular standard business. And there was just a vision misalignment there, and that company didn't want to do, packaging. Wow. They wanted to stay in the promotional industry. Luckily enough, the chairman of that business decided he wanted to retire. So we tried to buy that business, and we were not successful. And it got sold to a competitor. We met the competitor who came in, who wanted us to keep running the U.S. office. It was a global business, but we ran the U.S. office. And when the global competitor came in and they asked my husband and I about, our values and how we run the business, we really laid it on about the truth, which is, we really believe you have to give people more than they paid for. And you have to be all about your reputation and doing the right thing. And you can never leave somebody hanging. And they looked at us and they told us we were too honest.
Wow. So
we quit our jobs the same day. We went from 2 paychecks to no paychecks. And we started Spearhead Global because we decided, we know what we're doing. We've been in the industry a long time. We have a reputation for not leaving people hanging. We have a reputation for making sure that we make true on our word, And so we started it up all on our own. And since we'd been running sort of a business on our own, even though it was owned by someone else, we'd been really basically running it. We knew how to do it. So that was in January of 2018.
That is awesome. 7 years you built this company, and it's global.
It's global now. Yeah, I know. That's been amazing too. So now we have 2 offices in China, an office in India, an office in Mexico City, and an office in Torino in Italy.
That is really cool.
It's really fun. I'm really lucky.
So what are some of the brands that our viewers would know that you all work with?
Well, you'll know Crown Royal, and you'll know some Don Julio. Corvus Vodka is NFL Hall of Famer Ty Law's brand. We're doing a bunch of Japanese whiskeys that I think are not being sold that much in the U.S., and a few other brands here and there. We're doing a lot of work with Flaviar and the Advent calendars. The Advent calendars are a brilliant thing, and I just love whoever came up with that.
I just ordered one.
Did you? I mean, seriously, what a brilliant idea. I cannot believe that didn't exist in the market before a few years ago, and now it's absolutely like award-winning, amazing business model.
Yeah, we're also part of their cask program.
You are?
Yeah.
That's
so we
really
got
cool.
our first samples of that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just love everything everyone's doing with that. So that's who we're working with.
That's really cool. We just talked with the R&D team, and the innovation you all have is just phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. It's been a real making a vision happen when there hasn't been a roadmap or a template for how to do it. And it's just really amazing how well it's working out, and just got a great group of people down there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
I was asking Giselle, I was like, y'all need a project manager, right?
You never know, maybe. Let's stay in touch.
No, it's just really cool to see the innovation that's happening around packaging, sustainability, and the impact that you all are making in strides with those.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sustainability is becoming an interesting topic now. McKinsey just did this research report. It just came out like this week. And the importance of sustainability seems to actually be decreasing to the American customer because it is so cost focused right now, with everything going on with tariffs and global trade and the employment market. What's happening is it seems like people are starting to say, like, I'm going to do what I can do with the money I have, but I'm less inclined to spend more money for something sustainable. But it's always been Spearhead's belief that you can be more sustainable at a lower cost by using less material. And that's the way you engineer this. And so you don't say, I'm selling this more expensive, sustainable version of a thing you already buy.
Right.
You say, here's a sustainable thing, and it's affordable. And that's what we're really trying to push and get the point across, is that you don't have to invest necessarily in, some of these materials that are super high tech and high engineered and hard to get. Just design, use less. Just use less. It's simpler and it costs you less.
Yes.
That's what we're working on. Get the message out.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks
and
so
taking
much.
Time out.
Anytime. I appreciate you guys being here.
Today we are at Spearhead Global. We are with their R&D team. We have Eiley and Max, who are going to tell us how they build these cool designs for packaging with spirits. All right. So how did you get into doing R&D with Spearhead?
Yeah, so I was a co-op myself back in 2022, and I was lucky enough to get Spearhead as my co-op, and I really loved their mission about making packaging more sustainable and kind of using as much minimal packaging as possible. There's so much plastic involved in packaging these days when it's not needed whatsoever, and that kind of was a really big motivator for me to be able to solve that problem. How can we package different items, keeping them secure while also using as minimal material as possible? And then I finished my co-op and I loved it. I loved messing around with the laser cutters. I loved messing around with the 3D printers and kind of just problem solving constantly and trying to think of new innovative ideas that we could bring to the table for clients. And so that is what kind of motivated me the most. And then when I graduated from Drexel, I was really lucky to get a full-time job here. Nice. And I've been here since 2023. So I just love working with the machines, solving problems. And also, for me, I really love mentoring Drexel students. That is something that I really value, as I get to have students that come in here with a little bit of skill level. I'll have some students that come in with more skill level, but being able to kind of teach them the way and see how much they grow over the period of 6 months is really fulfilling to me, as well as just being able to guide them and lead them to the right direction if they're having any issues.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So Max, you're one of the students at Drexel.
Yeah, I am.
How have you grown? I think you've been here 3 months, so you're halfway through the program.
Right.
How much has your view changed on packaging?
A lot, honestly. From my experience from getting drinks, I don't think that consumers think too much about the packaging itself. I think I have like a greater appreciation for it. I think, good packaging should match the quality of the drink.
Yes.
And I think I've learned how to do that here, and also just working with new sustainable mediums. Yeah, all that's just been new to me and refreshing.
Yeah, so these are the Glowforge machines. They give us a simpler process than the Omtech machines. So on these, we can do some die line cuts if they're smaller scale. We cut a lot of our wood boxes on these. And we can also do engravings and like sketching on the wood.
For example, we have wood, acrylic, we have cardboard, veneer, and leather. So it's really versatile. All you really have to change is like the speed and the power of the laser cut itself. You can, I guess, see some of the things that we have down here. I mean, with the wood, we have like cherry wood, oak, we have poplar. So again, very versatile. You can use a bunch of different materials with this. And I think the best thing is it really doesn't take that long. Usually you're looking at about like 15 minutes, and to engrave something, it can take, you know, as much as 5 minutes, but as little as like about 2, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Glowforge website and stuff has a lot of like pre-made boxes and stuff that you can use. So when we were learning, it was really helpful to have like a good website to go off of to kind of start learning.
That's really cool. So how are you all changing the packaging game?
I think that we're changing the packaging game. A lot of companies are trying to maximize their packaging when Robert's goal ultimately is to eliminate packaging completely.
Okay.
And a lot of companies, like I mentioned earlier, are using so much plastic, they're using so much foam. And in my opinion, I feel like that's a little bit of a cop-out of using plastic and foam, because there are ways to package glasses, for example. Glasses are very fragile.
Yes.
And you have to think about, oh, when they're in a truck and they're shipping, how are we going to get them not to break? Mm-hmm. And there's a way to package glasses in paperboard and it not break whatsoever. Wow. Companies, I feel like they might just not have a team that is able to do that. So they're like, yeah, plastic will work. Plastic, like thermoforms, will be able to keep the glasses in the same position. Wow. But by working a little bit harder, you can use things like paperboard, you can use things like cardboard, and be able to have the same exact result while minimizing the amount of plastic that you're using, and just using more sustainable materials that would be able to be recycled as soon as the consumer gets it. Because most times when you go to the liquor store and you get a gift package, for example, in our industry, they're called VAPs, value added packaging. Mm-hmm. And most customers will throw away that packaging immediately. And if it's plastic, then you're just constantly throwing away plastic. And I feel like here we try to only use sustainable materials. So again, only paperboard, cardboard, and wood for most of our concepts, as well as sustainable mediums. So we're constantly researching, trying to find new materials that come out. There's a whole bunch of leathers that are coming out that can be biodegradable, and like biodegradable foams. And there's just so much to work with. And I feel like other companies aren't having teams that are dedicated to researching these things and figuring these things out. And I think that it's really important, not only for the environment, but also the customer experience.
Yeah. So you guys are niched in that way of figuring this out. That's really cool. So Max, I know you've been working on our project. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I have a couple up here, but this one is just, I'm thinking how you can transport bar tools with you, like just like mix drinks on the spot. So this is a bag. I'm working on getting a better string, but you could just wrap this around your shoulder, and then bring it to parties or bring it over to a house and even make like an event out of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm liking working with, this is fake leather, but I'm just learning how to use the material and mold it to the bottle, but I'm enjoying it so far.
That's really cool. So tell us about some of the other packaging.
Yeah,
we
of
have
course.
back here.
So another thing that I forgot to mention, but is really important to us, is reusability, kind of like Max's concept, for example. So if we're using a material like wood, or we're using a material like leather, we try to gear it towards reusable packaging. So that a customer wouldn't throw that away immediately. They would see that as a use that they could use over and over and over again. So then it's not only the packaging, but it's also another use out of it that they would be able to gain. And another one that is kind of like that is another concept that Max actually made, which I think is really cool. This is a bit of an earlier prototype. We don't have the final prototype, but this is a box that would essentially hold a bottle on the inside. And Max, if you want to say anything, you can hop in. But the actual walls of the packaging completely come off of the insert that holds the actual bottle. So the bottle goes inside of here. This piece slides out and actually holds the neck of the bottle in place. And it uses a magnet to do that. And then this would actually be something that you could have on your bar. And it can hold tools. It can have, for a company to have ingredients for a cocktail that they would like to show. And then this is another holder for either a jigger or a stirrer, anything that you want to put inside of there. And then this little panel, you can also add a little bit of a story of a brand. So it's just kind of that reusability factor,
Yeah.
again, using packaging to create an experience out of it, which really I think is valued to customers when they actually have an experience that they can have on top of the actual packaging that just holds the bottle.
Yeah, that's really cool. As a collector, I would like a little light that would shine down.
Yeah, that would be cool. Lights are a little bit tough sometimes, but I do think that would be really cool. And then, yeah, this is one of our classic Spearhead boxes that I can show. This one is just one of the easier boxes to put on the laser cutter, and it just has a sliding front panel that can slide up, and then there's an actual piece on the inside that holds the neck of the bottle completely secure. So when you have a bottle inside of here, it's not going to shake around if it's being shipped. And then we just have a little 3D printed Spearhead bottle in here, which is also, we do a lot of 3D printing of bottles for different clients. And then it also allows for customization on the back. You can put engravings on the back to kind of tell your story. And yeah, so this is just an example of one of the basic boxes that we can create. And then from here, we can make things more innovative, make things more interesting. But this is a pretty cool box. This is a really cool VAP idea that we have where a student actually made, and it can hold the bottle on one side, and it has two glasses that are secure in here on the other side. And most packages that you see in the liquor store with this orientation often don't have handles, and they oftentimes are much bigger than this.
Yes.
So this student was able to figure out how they can get the glasses as close to the glass as possible without breaking, and these glasses are completely secure in here. Another thing we have to think about is theft. So we're constantly thinking about, can somebody just come and grab the glass? So with this yeah, so we always have to be thinking about that. And our trial is that if you have to rip the package to get it out, then that's successful. If you can get it out without ripping the package, you need to rework it. So this is a really cool concept because you can't take the glasses out at all without ripping the package, but it also has a little handle on it, which makes it more comfortable for the customer when they go into the liquor store and they're not like holding like so many different things in one hand. You can just put this right on your hand and carry it with you.
So how much testing went into getting that to where it is today?
I don't know about this specific concept, but a lot of our concepts go through a lot of testing. So on the QC side, on the other side of this lab, we have a few machines that Hannah, our QC, I'm not sure exactly what her title is, but she works for QC, and she does vibration tests. So we have a vibration table back in the lab back there, and it's this huge table that simulates the back of a truck. And it just kind of vibrates, and she has to do a specific duration with the packages at different orientations. And based off of that test, you'll find out if the glasses break, if the glasses shift, if they fall out. So when it gets to the QC side, there's a lot of testing on our part. We're able to kind of have fun and be creative and see what works with us, and then we'll do some preliminary testing. And the preliminary testing, like proof of concept that we do in the lab, is we shake it a lot, make sure that nothing's falling out. We'll hold it. We'll make sure that if we shake it up and down, it's not going to fall out. But then when we hand it over to the QC side, they do a little more technical tests with it. And the vibration test is one of the main ones that kind of lets you know if it's in the back of a truck for X amount of time, like, is it going to break or is it going to be okay? So a lot of testing does go into each of these packages specifically, just because if a client wants a package from us, we don't want to deliver a package where things are going to be falling out or things are going to be breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of innovation going on here.
Yeah, and then we have this one, which is pretty cool. And this one actually holds 4 tasting glasses, completely. So they stack on top of each other, and then it can clip onto any type of bottle. Really, we can customize it to any type of bottle. But if the customer were to grab it from the top and they were to like shake it up and down, it's not going to come off. It actually has this locking mechanism on it. And then you can do a little bit of a pressure push up, and then it can come completely off. So if you want to like go to a party and bring some tasting glasses with you, you can just snap this onto the bottle and then have your 4 tasting glasses here, and then just bring the bottle with you to the party.
That's really cool. So that's a separate piece you can purchase to put on top of the bottle with it being a set.
Yeah, well, we were envisioning it as a set,
Okay.
So it would probably come with a specific bottle, and the tasting glasses would come with that bottle as well. And then the user would just be able to take it wherever they want. And we can customize this to be for different bottles though. So if like a different brand wanted to come on and make this, we could design this actual piece to fit their bottle securely.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then I'll show one of the main ones, the big barrel box, which we actually have a patent on. But this box is very luxury.
Yeah.
It's not for just any company. It's for a company that's going to definitely match this type of package.
Right.
But this is a barrel box that we have patented, and essentially it's a really beautiful piece just itself. But then when you open it, you kind of have the experience of being able to place a bottle in here and then 2 glasses on the side as well. And it's a really cool display piece that you'd be able to reuse. And if you want to go to a party, you can put the bottle in there, glasses in there, close it up, and bring it with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to order one for the Liquor Connoisseur. That is really cool. I'm having so much fun here.
Yeah, no, we come up with a lot of cool different concepts. And Max, do you want to show your locker box by chance?
Sure.
If you'd like.
So I like working a lot with wood and
Okay.
incorporating metal, or at least like some aesthetic elements into it. So this is one I came up with, which I was thinking of like a foot like locker box,
Yeah.
like a trunk. So you have these latches here that come off, and then it just holds the bottle in place. Right now it's just a placeholder bottle, but it can completely go flat. So that's something I consider pretty much with most of my packages, because you want to use as much like space of cargo, whether it's a truck or a plane, to take all the packages. So I'm trying to make sure that you can have all that space. But yeah, also just thinking about like space for branding, for storytelling, because I think that's a big thing
Yeah.
with alcohol, is just like, and spirits, is like understanding why it is the way it is. And also just this nice mechanism of placing a bottle inside and it locking into place.
Yeah. It makes me think about traveling with alcohol, carrying it on. A lot of times we use that plastic, you pump it up, put it in the plastic,
Yeah.
and you ship it. Like, how usable would some of these be for sustainability versus using that plastic if you were trying to ship alcohol personally that you would purchase?
Oh yeah, using this, you mean having the box closed?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think sustainably it's so much better than using plastic. I
Yeah.
mean, so many companies are just using plastic because it's easy and it's cheap.
Right.
But if you put in a little bit of effort and thought, you can make a wooden package like that can be shipped, and the bottle isn't going to break on the inside. You can see that little top lip where the top of the bottle is being held on.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the bottom, you can see that circle area that the bottle sits into. So if Max were to completely close that box and shake it around, the bottle's going to stay in the exact same position the entire time.
That's
So
awesome.
integrating with all of our packages, especially with wooden, it's integrating those different types of things that will be able to keep the bottle from actually shaking inside of the package, like this little neck part that stops the bottle from being able to move up and down. And that really helps with shipping and not making any type of bottle break.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just like a kid right now. Like, what do I ask next? So when did you all start using 3D printers to do prototyping?
I started using 3D printers when I was a co-op here. Was when we were actually up on the second floor. We've grown quite a bit since then. And we had 2 older 3D printers, and we had one of the ones that we currently have. And that was kind of when I started. And I think that 3D printing, laser cutting is really cool for wooden boxes, but 3D printing is really cool in a different way. You can get different shapes that you want to make, and then you can talk to a manufacturer and you can actually have them develop it in a different material, which is really cool. But 3D printing just allows for different types of bottle shapes, different types of packaging shapes. We have this example. Max, can you hand me the PBE concept? Yeah, so this was a student in Italy made this one, and it just shows how 3D printing can kind of change the game when it comes to prototyping, because this is a closure that they developed, but the main idea of the package was to kind of have this actual part that clips onto the bottle, and this would ideally be made from paper pulp, and it would be able to, oh, that's part of innovation, but it would be able to clip onto the bottle as pulp, and then you can customize this. So the idea that we had behind this is that you would be able to dress it up for different occasions. So like if there's a specific event happening, if it's around Christmas time or something, you could have, it was in the wrong way. You could have different types of kind of like dresses. It's like dress up for a bottle. So I think that that's a pretty cool concept. And I think that people who love alcohol, people that love just collecting things, they could find a lot of value in having different types of things that they can dress up their bottle as and going to parties for different events like New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, different types of seasons. There can be different types of colors and prints on here. And
I love it.
It was just a way to kind of dress up the bottle, give it more elegance.
Yeah, right now we have sweaters.
Nice.
And little Santa hats.
Yeah.
that we use to dress up our bottles. So yeah, that is going to be so awesome to see on shelves or, on the liquor library perhaps one of these days.
Yeah, so it shows how like 3D printing, like we wouldn't be able to laser cut something like this. And 3D printing really shows that we can kind of push the boundaries of how we think about packaging. A really cool thing that we focus on here in our R&D lab is this concept called unboxing the box. So not having a box at all for the packaging and actually making it more creative, kind of something like this. And I think that this is something that's really exciting to work on, rather than just having a simple rectangular box. It can be functional, but sometimes this is a little bit more fun and creative to be able to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Man, so many ideas.
Yeah, we do. We have even more too. These are only the ones that we put out.
I need a new job.
Okay, so this is how it turned out. And the blue tape is really essential just for not leaving any burn marks on it. So you peel it off.
We have this conditioning wax in here that just helps it look a little bit nicer after being laser cut, because it'll condition it and bring out that wood grain a little bit better. Look a little bit more finished and nice. Usually we'll apply this and then we'll let this sit for a little bit, more saturated, and then let it dry into the actual wood grain, just to have like a little sign.
All right. Well, I appreciate you all talking to us. This has been great.